Okay, so the last couple of videos we've been making a interactive menu using some of the interactive features of Adobe InDesign. We added some animated text and images, did some slideshows, some page turning, some page transitions. We added video and sound. I'm just going to go over a couple ways of saving this to make sure you have it all saved. So we have our original InDesign file that we can always come back and change, add things, change the effects, take things away, add pages and such. We should always just save that as your InDesign file. And remember, with your InDesign files, you should always keep that in a folder. And within that folder, I call my folder Bob's Barbecue. Within that folder, I have my InDesign original file, which I saved. And remember, you always have to keep your links in there also. So here's my original image links, sound, and video in the links folder. Good. Okay. Remember, we could preview the interactivity with an InDesign here, but we also can export it if I wanted to use that in the website, or email it as an interactive email, or put it on an iPad as an interactive kiosk at a restaurant or something. I would file, export. We did this last time. I'm just reviewing. Remember, we export to make sure it's going to your folder, and we exported it as a Swift file, and we said save. And we kept all these default settings. I wanted to generate an HTML file. I wanted to view it after saving. I'm not going to change the height or anything. I could if I wanted to, the width and height. And I'm keeping the page transitions from the document that we added, but I'm also including an interactive page curl. And OK. Took a second to do that. And then it should open up your interactive file in a browser just so you can test it out and see how it's looking. All right, let's look at the actual files that are saved. If I go back to my Bob's Barbecue folder, there's my original links, my original InDesign file. It also saved a Swift file, a Flash SWF file, and an HTML file. I could include the HTML file in a website, on a web page, and I would have to also take the Swift file into the roots folder for that web page. All right. Now, InDesign automatically saved any of these video or audio files into the resources folder also. All right. If I wanted to look at the HTML image, I cannot take it out of this folder, or else it won't recall the Swift file correctly. So if I want to look at this HTML file, it always has the accompanying Swift file here. If I want to look at the Swift file here, I could right-click and open it in a Flash player or in Adobe Flash. But to make any changes to these files, I'd have to go back to my original InDesign file and then re-export it. Let's look at a couple more options. I could also file export. I could export to Adobe PDF print, so it'll just flatten everything out, and what you see is what you get. There will be no interactivity. I could save it as Adobe Interactive, which some of the interactivity will stay. You should be able to see the video and some of the slideshow transitions, but it won't let you. Some of the animations won't work correctly. That's an interactive Adobe PDF. You can also do an EPUB. That's for a Kindle or other devices there, and those interactivities we created should work. There's also a lot more you could add for an EPUB document, which we didn't go over. EPUB reflowable, so I can look at it at vertical or horizontal views and set those up to reflow and change the layout. I could also export as a Flash file and then edit it in Flash. And there's a couple other ones, JPEGs, PNGs. Those are all both flat image files, separate image files. Would get rid of all the interactivity and flatten it out. All right. And I'm going to cancel that since I already saved it that way. And once again, for your InDesign files, always keep everything in one folder. And that's it.